Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Mandeham Shri Gurum Shri Utapatakamelam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Rughunatham Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parjana Saidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shivishakam Vidamsya Ye Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namostude Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Shabanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubesha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishnaya Budale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshakarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gauravakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namo. Hare Krishna Hari Om Tat Sat. So we come all the devotees for today's Mukunda Mala Stotra class. So we are reading Stotra 8. Karacharana Saroje Kantiman Netramine Shramamushi Bhuja Vichi Vyakule Gada Marge Harisarasi Vigahyapiyatecho jalaugam bhavamaruparikhinna kleshamadhyatyajami. Okay, Satya Mataji.
Krishna Prabhu. करचरण सरोजे कान्तिमां नेत्रमेने शममुषि भुजि विजि व्याकुलहादमार्हे हरिसरसि विहाय पीय तेजो जलौघम् बहुमरुपरिकिन्न क्लिश अत्यत्यजामि.
Very bold. Okay, translation. Who can read? Okay, Tarani Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandrat pranams. Translation. The desert of material existence has exhausted me, but today I will cast aside all troubles by diving into the lake of Lord Hari and drinking freely of the abundant waters of his splendor. The lotuses in that lake are his hands and feet, and the fish are his brilliant shining eyes. That lake's water relieves all fatigue and is agitated by the waves his arms create. Its current flow deep beyond fathoming. Hare Krishna.
Very well. The desert of material existence has exhausted me, but today I will cast aside all troubles by diving into the lake of Lord Hari and drinking freely of the abundant waters of his splendor. So these are all very poetic expression by Kulachekra Alva. So the material existence is compared to desert. Why? What is the specialty of desert? We cannot live in desert, right? No vegetations, no trees and plants, no water. How can we live? Very difficult to live in desert. There's nothing is available. Okay. How do we survive without any food, without any water? So this material existence is compared to a desert. It has exhausted me. I cannot live anymore. Because in the material existence, everything material is available. But that is not the soul wants. The soul wants spiritual existence, not for the body. Body is temporary. So Kulashekar Alvar is expressing his what you call dilemma or plight in living in this material existence, because it's considered, he considers this as a desert. But today I will cast away all troubles by diving into the lake of Lord Hari and drinking freely of the abundant waters of his splendor. So now I have decided to dive into the lake of Lord Hari. That means to fully focus with single pointed attention to pray and serve the Supreme Lord Hari. How? Drinking freely of the abundant waters of splendor. Just enjoy his, or just relish his beauty. So that is drinking the nectar of his splendor. The lotuses in that lake are his hands and feet. So in the lake, there will be so many lotuses, lotus flowers. That's considered to be Lord Hari's hands and feet. And the fish are his brilliant, shining eyes. The fish in the lake are compared to shining eyes. That lake's water relieves all fatigue and is agitated by the waves his arms create. So, by just bringing the nectar of his various limbs of the body, that will, what you call, that will give some sort of relish, and all the fatigue will go away. And how the fatigue happens? Agitated by the waves of his arms that creates. Its current flows deep beyond fathoming. So we cannot fathom the flows of this current. That means the attraction towards the limbs of Lord Hari. So purport. In this prayer, King Kulashekara employs an elaborate metaphor comparing the Lord's all-attractive form to a rejuvenating lake. So it's a metaphor used by King Kulashekara, comparing the attractive features of his body, the Lord's body, transcendent body, to what? To a rejuvenating lake. If a devotee dives into that lake and drinks its waters, all his exhaustion from material life will go away. Simply by drinking the nectar, that is there on the different parts or different limbs of his body, all our fatigue will go away. All our exhaustion will go away. We simply have to plunge into devoted service by hearing about Krishna, chanting his glories, and remembering with him. Simply by taking part in the Navavidha Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Mandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. Okay. These are the 9 types of devoted services recommended by whom?
Prahlad.
By Prahlad Maharaj. Okay. So simply by taking up that process, all our fatigue, and will plunge into the ecstatic moments of devotional service. Will go into ecstasy simply by following any one or all of the devotional services. So why don't we all do that? Because when we know that any one of the devotional services, or all of them, or some of them, will take us to the highest level of ecstasy. So why don't we do that? That's what, in the purport, the devotee says. It is illusion that makes us think there is no relief there. There is no relief here. It is illusion that makes us think there is no relief here, or that the lake is a mirage. What's a mirage? It looks like water there far away, but as we go nearby, there is no water. So, or out of foolish attachment to material activities, we may think it's irresponsible to dive into the ocean of pleasure that is Krishna consciousness. Because of attachment to the material activities, in the so-called sense enjoyment, we think that there is no pleasure in Krishna consciousness, in serving the Supreme Lord. Where is that lake? We think I would gladly jump into it if I could find it, but it sounds like the legendary fountain of youth. When we show the non-devotees the Lord's form and invite them to serve him, they refuse. They think he is just an ordinary man or a mystic or a mythical figure. So when the devotees invite the non-devotees to come and join us and enjoy or relish the Krishna conscious activities, they will refuse. Why? Why? Because they think that these are all myth. Okay, Lord Krishna is a mythical figure, but there is a lake of Lord Hari, and there are aquatics sporting in it, the Lord's pure devotees, who have no cares or fear or anger or lust. They have dived into that lake and are free of all material exhaustion. In body, mind, and spirit, we grow tired, but the waters of this lake relieve all our fatigue. Okay, so when we take up devotional service, no fatigue, no tiredness. Okay, we'll be always youthful. But in the material world, as the time passes by, we get deteriorated. Okay, Lord Krishna says, Kalosmi, I am time, and time will destroy everything. Okay, there are Shat Parinamas. What are those? We take birth, we grow, we maintain body, byproduct, deterioration, death. So from beginning till end, we travel, and for some point, some time, we'll have that youth. In that youthful age, we'll enjoy. After that, deterioration, isn't it? So in spirituality, there is no deterioration. The time element doesn't work there. That's why even in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that from the rising of sun till the setting of sun, whatever time we utilize in the service of Supreme Lord or in devotional service, that is always in credit. That never goes in vain. But if it is used for our sense gratification, it is waste of time. Okay. So when we use this time for devotional service, what happens? What is the result? When we use the time for devotional service, what is the result? What is the result? So from this time of rising from the time of rising the sun until the time of setting sun, 1 day, 24 hours. 12 hours, sorry. Okay, that time, if we utilize for devote service, what will be the result? No result? Then why the Srimad Bhagavatam says,
Prabhuji, others just waste their time, but for us, we are engaging in the Lord's service, so it is just put into our account.
okay.
And I'm just confused, like if it's Ayur Hridi Vaipumsam,
Yeah,
are you
Ayur Hridi
trying to tell that
Vaipumsam.
shloka?
Yes, same sloka. Ayur Hridi Vaipumsam. Yes, same sloka. But then,
so they are just wasting their life, because each day the sun comes and rises, they are getting closer to death, but they are wasting their time. But when we involve in our devotional service, we are actually utilizing our time.
so it is how it is affecting in a positive way. We are going closer to Krishna. Okay, when we
For
use,
others, it is like they are going to death. I mean, as the day passes, it means that they are going to do death. But for us, it is like we are thinking we are going to closer as to Krishna when each
so
day goes.
when we perform devotional service, okay, we are not wasting that 1 day time from the rising of sun till the setting of sun. That 12 hours we are not wasting, and by performing devotional service, we are going closer to Krishna. At the same time, the materialists, while performing sense gratificatory activities, they are going away from Krishna. Not
They are
only they are,
decreasing their lifetime,
yeah,
actually.
not only they are going closer to death, but they are going away from Krishna also. Okay, so this is that. So elsewhere in the Vedic literature, we hear of lakes such as Bindu Sarovara, where Devahuti was revived and made beautiful again after her long austerities. But the effect of immersing oneself in the lake of Lord Hari is not the restoration of youth, which will soon be exhausted again. It is eternal relief from samsara, the repetition of birth. We all know that Kardama Muni and Devahuti. Okay, because of our chastity and because of our sincere service to Kardama Muni. Kardama Muni, being a mystic yogi, he could make a mansion, aerial mansion, to fulfill all the material desires of Devahuti. And they enjoyed for thousands and thousands of years. But here what it says, the effect of immersing oneself in the lake of Lord Hari is totally different. It's not for restoration of youth. Kardama Muni, because of his mystic power, could give her the youth again, because by serving Kardama Muni, she had lost all her beauty, luster, and everything. But then he could give that back to her. So revive that youth. But here, immersing oneself in the lake of Lord Hari is not for that purpose, not to get back our youth. Because even if we get back, over a period of time, we will have to lose it. So it is eternal relief. But whereas when we do devotional service, we are getting out of the Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi, from the samsara cycle, repetition of birth and death. So that's the difference between the material and the spiritual activities. Material activities are temporary. You may enjoy for some time, but it's not permanent. Okay. Prabhupada, when he was walking on the street in New York, there was some construction going on, in road construction. So there was a board, temporary inconvenience, permanent solution. Because the road was being reconstructed, some renovation work was going on. So Prabhupada, after seeing that, he laughed. It's not like that. This material world is permanent inconvenience, temporary solution. It should be good. There, the board read, temporary inconvenience, permanent solution. But it is the other way around. In the material world, everything is temporary. It's temporary solution, but permanent inconvenience in this material world. So we may attain attraction to the Lord's form by worshipping the deity in the temple and hearing descriptions of his form in the Shastra. Also, chanting and hearing his names evokes attraction to his form, which the Lord eventually manifests to the pure chanter. As we become attracted to the form of the Lord, we will give up trying to enjoy other forms, an effort that simply leads to exhaustion. We will know then that only Krishna can satisfy. Nobody other than Krishna can satisfy us eternally. Only Krishna can satisfy us eternally. Others can satisfy us temporarily. See, our wealth can satisfy us, isn't it? We have so many material desires. I want a good house, good car, okay, and good estate. I can buy with money. That will give me satisfaction. But how long? One day will come, I will not be having any taste or attachment to this so-called Aishwarya, isn't it? The wife can satisfy the husband, husband can satisfy the wife, the parents can satisfy the children, children can in turn satisfy the parents, the friends can satisfy each other. But how long? Temporary. But Hari alone can satisfy us, all of us, for eternity. So that's what the Shastra, from Shastra we understand. Okay. So only that's why Krishna time and again says in Shastras, what he says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja. Okay. Mam Ekam. If you take shelter of others, you are not going to get that eternal benefit. If you take shelter of me, you are going to get the eternal benefit. So which one is better? Temporary benefit or eternal benefit? Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Ye Jana Paripasade. Ananyas Chindam Ye Jana Paripas. Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam Yogakshemam. Lord Krishna says. Ananya Chinta. So one single pointed attention. Everyone should serve me. Kalair dosha nidhe rajan asti ego mahan guna. Kirtanad eva Krishnasya mukta sangha param rajit. So whichever sloka you take, it's all directing towards Krishna alone, nobody else. Kirtaniya sada hari, satadam kirtayanto mam. He did not say sadam kirtayanto Ganapati or Hanuman or somebody, you know. So instruction is very clear, but unfortunately we cannot digest it because of the preconceived notion or the tradition which we have been following from time immemorial. Our father have done like this, forefathers have done like that, and forefathers of their forefathers have done like that. So we are also just following the same rituals, the same things again and again without understanding what is what. If we know that it is a mistake or it is not the right path, we should correct it. But we are not ready to correct. Again, why unnecessarily? My forefather from time immemorial, they have been doing it. Why I should stop it now? And even if somebody wants to do it, the other members of the family will object. You know, we are going against, it's not good, it's not good for our family. The family will go and get destroyed because we are not doing that puja, we are not doing this puja, which we have been doing for so many, years. Why we have to stop it? Krishna stopped such puja. Krishna instructed Nanda Maharaj, his own father, when he was small, don't do Indra puja. Why you should do? Indra is duty bound to give you rain. You don't have to please him. You instead please Govardhan. Because of Govardhan, we are getting nice vegetables, nice grass, because of which the cows are fed and they are giving good milk. That's what we want. We are Vaishyas. So like that. So the right ritual, the right tradition we should follow. It's not that we are belittling others. We are going against the scriptural injunction. We are correcting ourselves. We are correcting ourselves. We have been doing something wrong. Yeah, as far as devotees are concerned, this is the right path. As far as fruitive workers are concerned, they have to do it this way, and slowly and gradually they should come to the bhakti mark. Then they have to follow this. So when we get an opportunity to follow the topmost path, why not avail that? That's what it said. So only Krishna can satisfy us permanently, eternally, nobody else. So, any comments or any questions?
Harishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
This line, I just have some doubt, Prabhu. Like, where is that lake? We think I would gladly jump into it if I could find it, but it sounds like a legendary fountain of youth. So, does this mean that they are telling, like, for youth, it just stays for some time and then again it just goes off? Does that line mean like that, or
Where is it?
what does
Can
it
you
mean?
just show me? Yeah, where is that lake? We think.
Second
I would
paragraph.
gladly
Yes,
jump
Prabhu,
into
but
it
it
if I
sounds
could find it. But it sounds like the legendary fountain of youth. Yeah, these are all poetic, this thing, Madaji. Just to, it's a, what do you call a metaphor? That's what it already said. No? It's a metaphor used.
like youth. It will stay for some time, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Or
it's also temporary. The legendary fountain of youth. See, in the youth,
ah,
in the youth, how long we can enjoy. Okay. So that's it. So it's a metaphor used to teach us that it's all temporary. Only Krishna can
temporary, just
only Krishna consciousness can help us. Okay, all others, it's all temporary and it's all material. It will take us nowhere. Okay.
okay.
So, next we'll go to the 9th sloka. 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 9th slo सरसिजनयने सशङ्खचक्रे मुरभिदिमा विरमस्वचित्तरन्तुं सुखतरमपरं न जातु जाने हरिचरण स्मरणामृतेन तुल्यम्. Okay, who can read? Vandana Mataji. Can you see?
Mataji is mute, that is why she cannot listen.
Vandana Mataji, can you please unmute and recite?
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी
Hare
नमो
Krishna.
प्रणाम सरस जानने शंकाशकरि मुरारिमा चिरं स्वासितारंतुं सुखातरम् अपरं न जातु जाने हरि चरणाश्रमरणं रसेनाश्रयम्.
Hare Krishna. Translation, Prince Prabhu. You are mute, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Prabhuji. Translation: O mind, please never stop taking pleasure in thinking of the Muraz demon's destroyer, who has lotus eyes and bears the conch and disc weapon. Indeed, I know of nothing else that gives such extreme pleasure as meditating on Lord Hari's divine feet. Hare Krishna.
Very good. Oh mind, please never stop taking pleasure in thinking of the Muradamant's destroyer who has lotus eyes and bears the conch and disc weapon. So Kulashekar Alvar is instructing his own mind, Manasiksha. Okay. Please never stop taking pleasure. Instructing the mind to take pleasure in thinking of Lord Krishna. And here, Lord Krishna is addressed as Mura, demons destroyer. That's called Murari. Okay. The killer of Mura demon. Yes. And how he see that Murari was lotus eyes that bears the conch and disc weapon. Conch and disc weapon. Indeed, I know of nothing else that gives such extreme pleasure as meditating on Lord Hari's divine feet. So I don't find anything interesting or giving some pleasure other than meditating on Lord Hari's divine feet. That gives me the immense pleasure compared to the very negligent pleasure of the material world, temporary negligence. So from his own experience, King Kulashekara is speaking of how delightful it is to think of Krishna. Because you're always in ecstasy, you are relishing each and every moment simply by thinking of Lord Krishna's two lotus feet, serving him. That thinking is the greatest pleasure in life. So we are all having pleasure in the life, material life also. What is the greatest pleasure? Simply serving the Supreme Lord's lotus feet. As a king, he had access to many worldly pleasures, but they all continued as nothing compared to meditation on the Lord's lotus feet. Okay. Now, because we have been accustomed or used to enjoy the material things, we don't find relish or we don't find enjoyment in something higher taste, some higher. So we have to train our mind to get off from the lower pleasure, lower happiness, and to take the mind to a higher happiness. Okay. Now, our happiness is in what? In the senses, Panchendriya. Okay. Eyes want to see something beautiful. Okay. And ears want to hear something, pleasing. The skin wants to touch something soft. The tongue wants to taste something palatable, like that. We have been doing that from many, many lifetimes. So these are all lower taste. Those who have tasted the nectar of the lotus feet of Lord Hari will know that these are all tucha. Tucha means very, very negligent. This so-called enjoyment. It said that when we say no when we say no to in a grudging way, it's called austerity. When we say no, what is that? Yeah. Willingly, when we say no willingly, it's higher taste. When we say no grudgingly, it's an austerity. Okay, we are compulsorily, with difficulty, we are saying no to a thing. I like rasgulla very much, but I'm a diabetic patient. I cannot eat that. So I'm saying no in a grudging way. It's an austerity for me. Okay, but at the same time, when we do it willingly, it's higher. Why? Because by not accepting that, I am instructing my own mind. No, it's not good. You are going to harm your health. So don't. So I'm willingly accepting. So for what? For a higher purpose. Similarly, we have been doing these sense gratificatory activities from time immemorial. So we have to slowly and gradually shift from this material mode to spiritual mode. So King Kulashekara is instructing his own mind. So from his own experience, King Kulashekara is speaking of how delightful it is to think of Krishna. We will not realize this now because we don't have that higher taste. We have the lower taste. There should be a paradigm shift. For that, we have to continue chanting sincerely, continue association sincerely, and we should stop all nonsensical practices or activities. Then slowly and gradually we can have that shift. Otherwise, it's not possible. So we have to put in a lot of effort. So that thinking is the greatest pleasure in life. As a king, he had access to many worldly pleasures, but they all counted as nothing compared to meditation on the Lord's lotus feet. We know King Kulashekara is not an ordinary person. He, as a king, he had all the comfort, amenities, facilities at his disposal. He had so many servants to serve him. Whatever he wanted, he could get. If we were in his place, what would we do? We would enjoy left, right, and center materially. But that King Kulashekara, who had everything at his disposal. He had money, he had, Janma, Aishwarya, Shruda, Shri. Everything was there. Janma, he had a good Janma, good parentage, good Kula Mahima, good dynasty, good family. Aishwarya, wealth, abundance, wealth in abundance. Whatever he want, whatever he could achieve with wealth, he could achieve. Okay. Shruda, knowledge. Here, he was a very, very scholar, philosopher. Here, all that knowledge. And Shri, beauty. But he did not find any enjoyment in all these things. That's what here he says. That thinking is his great pleasure in life. As a king, he had access to many worldly pleasures, but they all counted as nothing compared to meditation on Lord's lotus feet. Simply meditating on the Lord's lotus feet gave him so much of pleasure. So all other so-called material pleasure was just rubbish for him, because he attained that position of higher taste. So this Krishna meditation is available for all. And the Supreme Lord and his representatives want everyone to enjoy it. It is not restricted only to King Kulashekara. It is available freely, abundantly for everyone. Only things that we are not accepting it. We are not ready to accept it. But King Kulashekara, the devotees of Supreme Lord, and the other representatives wants everyone to enjoy this. Thus, Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, always think of me. Manmana bhav mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Okay? Always think of me. Become my devotee. Worship me. Pay obeisances unto me. This meditation is not only for the philosophers and poets. Though Arjuna was a military man, Lord Krishna instructed him, remember me and fight. Mam anusmaran yudhyacha. Was a Kshatriya. It was his duty to fight, to uphold the Dharma. But just simply don't fight. You remember me and fight. That becomes Krishna conscious activities. The Vedic literature prepared by Srila Vyasadeva and filled with narrations of the Lord and his devotees is meant to help us remember the Lord always. These books teach us how to divert our mind from ordinary thoughts, which are filled with business, entertainment, speculation, and the like, and fix it on the Supreme Lord in his personal feature. So, all the Vedas teach us how we can shift our attention or focus to devotional activities. Otherwise, numerous worldly thoughts will absorb us. News of politics, for instance, is always bombarding us by TV, radio, and print media. It was previously when, maybe this was translated maybe a few decades ago. So it was only TV, radio, and print media. Now you name it, in the social media is so vast, yeah, everyone will get diverted. How much ever he may be, he wants to restrict himself, but still he'll be bombarded with all this media, social media, and he will be distracted from the real path. So that is the present time scenario. Also, our personal economic affairs are themselves fully absorbing. And to put up with anxieties, we can take part in diversions like videos, music, intoxication, and sex stimulation. Wasting time with mundane thoughts is nothing new, but today the pace, variety, and intensity of diversions grabbing for our attention seem to have increased. So as the days progresses, we are going to have a tough time. Now itself is very difficult to, get absorbed in spiritual activities because of so many distractions in the media, social media. You cannot escape from that. You are bombarded with so many, through so many channels, all unwanted things. Very difficult to get away from that. So thus, although meditation on God is as essential as ever, one may conclude that it is impossible nowadays. The present time is such that it's very difficult for us to focus in spiritual activities. Okay, our minds, our senses are distracting us. People around us are distracting us. What else? The social media is distracting us. It's very difficult. So, however, by the grace of Srila Prabhupada and the Krishna consciousness movement, he found that we can absorb the mind in thoughts of the Lord even in this age. But simply by the grace of Srila Prabhupada and his compassion towards the fallen souls like us, still it is possible, provided we have that tivra icha, intense desire. If you don't have intense desire, then we cannot. We should have the intense desire. Then it is possible. So that is the contribution of Srila Prabhupada to the humanity at large. Yes, given his life, the whole life, just to give us all these things. So if you don't take advantage of this, what's the use? So if one lives in a city with an ISKCON temple, one can directly visit the deity of Lord Vishnu as King Kulashekara did. Even on the way to work, one may find time to stop and briefly see the Lord in the temple. If one lives far from a temple, one can still read Srila Prabhupada's books, correspond with devotees, listen to devotional recordings, subscribe to regular Krishna consciousness publication, and of course, chant the Hare Krishna mantra alone or with friends. Thus, in these and many other ways, meditation on Krishna is available to those who want it. So there are many ways that we can remain in Krishna conscious activities. Many ways that temples are there, deities are there, books are there, devotees are there. Okay, and audio, video, YouTube, so many channels are there where we can, concentrate, focus in devotional activities, get connected to Srila Prabhupada's movement. It's available. Only we should have that desire. So here King Kulashekara specifically mentions meditation upon the feet of the Lord. Such meditation implies humility and indicates that the meditator desires shelter under the Lord's protection. So he has specifically mentioned the feet of the Lord, because when we take shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, that means we are always protected by the Supreme Lord. Indeed, the Lord's lotus feet symbolize that shelter. Elsewhere, the Vedic literatures describe the Lord's lotus feet as umbrellas shielding the devotees from material life. So the lotus feet are also compared to umbrellas. So a devotee is satisfied meditating on the Lord's feet, although he sometimes meditates on other parts of the Lord's body. We should remember, however, that although the lotus feet of the Lord symbolize the total shelter he extends towards his devotees, there is nothing symbolic about them. They are always to be thought of in a personal, literal sense. Lakshmi Devi is always at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, massaging his lotus feet, serving him always. So it is not symbolic. That's what it is mentioned. It's not symbolic. It is real. So when we serve the lotus feet means it's really we are serving the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. We will take it personal or in a literal sense. Once some Hatha Yoga students asked Srila Prabhupada if there was a Shastric reference specifically stating that transcendentalists who regard the absolute truth as impersonal would fall down. Prabhupada quoted the following words from Srimad Bhagavatam. So an impersonalist or Hatha Yoga student asked Prabhupada, is there any reference in the scriptures that those who regard the absolute truth as impersonal, whether they will fall down? Yes. So he quoted Srimad Bhagavatam 10.2.32. Yanyaravindaksha vimuktamaninas tavyasta bhavad avishuddha buddhaya aruhya krichena parampadam tada patandi adho nadrida yusmadang angraya patanti, fall down. Patanti. Okay. O lotus-eyed Lord, although non-devotees who accept severe austerities and penances to achieve the highest position may think themselves liberated, their intelligence is impure. They fall down from their position of imagined superiority because they have no regard for a lotus feet. After quoting this verse, Prabhupada said, feet means person. So such people will fall down for sure. So in conclusion, then we should have firm faith that the absolute truth is the Supreme Person, Krishna, that his body is all blissful and that his feet are worth meditating upon. So we should not think that Lord Krishna, the absolute Supreme Personality of Godhead, is impersonal. He is a person like all of us. The only difference is we are just person, is Supreme Person. So we should serve him as a person only, not as a Shakti, as Bhagavan. Otherwise, there are every chances that we may fall down even if we have got liberated, because we do not have any service. If we don't serve the Supreme Lord in a spiritual abode, how can we sustain ourselves? We'll have to come down, we'll fall down. Then, when we become a devotee bhakta, and when we start serving the Supreme Lord, then only we will be able to go back home, back to God and to the spiritual world. So, even though impersonalists gets liberation, they enter only in the effulgence of the Supreme Lord, where there are no activities, no services. Only a devotee who serves the Supreme Lord, who wants to serve the Supreme Lord, will be elevated to the Vaikuntha planets, not otherwise. So King Kulashekara is requesting all of us to serve the lotus feet of the Lord as a person and end the cycle of birth and death. Go to the abode of the Supreme Lord, serve him there in a mood befitting to each one of us. Okay. We all have different moods in relationship with the Supreme Lord. So accordingly, we can serve the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world and relish that relationship. That's what King Kulashekara says here. So next is 10. We'll take next week. I don't think we'll be able to complete that. So I will stop here. Please mark Stotra number 10 next week. वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज की जय, गो प्रेमानंदे।